Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
Good morning, everyone. Well, it is, guess what? It's April Fool's Day. And I'm not really ANITA FINLEY. Oh, yes, I am. So what are you going to do today, April Fool's Day? I have to tell you that even though Bill is no longer here on this planet, he would never let an April Fool's Day go by. He used to really get me. Once when we lived in our house, he would say, "Oh, my God, there's somebody in our pool." Of course, there wasn't, and that was at very early in the morning. There was always something that he did, and he always caught me. So today, I'm just going to tell you that Darwin Porter decided to go to Mars, but not really. He's here. He's here with us. He's in New York, and he's our next guest. So good morning, Darwin.
Good morning. I returned at midnight from Mars, and here I am. By the way, conditions are bad in New York right now. Cold, but Mars was even worse,
It is cold in New York still?
What's that?
I thought it got nicer. It's still cold there?
Well, yeah, winter has come with a vengeance to the Northeast.
No kidding.
Just as we were celebrating spring. But let me tell you, we'll move to the new. Last night, around midnight, I wasn't really on Mars. Last night, around midnight, 300 of my personal copies arrived of Lana Turner, Hearts and Diamonds Take All, and glamorous Lana Turner lives again. Now, I'm still a 20th century man. I'm not exactly sure how media works these days. I mean, the Daily Mirror in London, with 3.8 million readers, ran a 2-page spread on Lana Turner with 8 or 10 color pictures, and then papers all over the world then pick up they sort of rewrite it and run different pictures of. So she's in Budapest and Istanbul and Rio and Moscow. And the one thing that surprised me, I didn't know so many foreign countries would be that familiar with Lana Turner today. I'm just amazed at the worldwide interest. And then, there are thousands of websites that pick up. And oddly enough, the book just came out today, and they're already writing reviews of it.
And I wouldn't have thought it either. When you first told me that you were really going to do that, as much as I do remember her, and she was great, I didn't think that she was of the same celebrity that Marilyn Monroe was.
Well, Marilyn Monroe was a special cult thing who the trick in life and about Hollywood movie legends is to die young, like Jean Harlow and Marilyn Monroe, and then you become a legend. And Marilyn Monroe, though, is a very different kind of celebrity. But I just wanted to tell you that I am so honored that I was able to write the full story of Lana Turner. I had wanted to write Ava Gardner's full story. No one has ever written a full book on Lana Turner. Now, who was she? Well, she was the goddess of. She was the queen of MGM. She's now viewed by the press as the last goddess of the golden age of Hollywood. Now, the last movie star. Now, there were 2 movie stars that came along after Lana, but the golden age ended in the 50s when everybody in America went to get a television set, and that was the end of the golden age. So she and the only 2 real movie stars that existed after that would be Elizabeth Taylor and, as we mentioned, Marilyn. In fact, the Sunday Times in London called, and they're doing a long article on the death of the movie star, which today the point they're making is movie stars no longer exist. Today we have actors and actresses. And this had to do with a generation that came up who watched silent pictures, watched pictures in the 30s, and ended with the baby boomer generation. And they elevated women like Lana Turner into a cult goddess status, and that's just, for example, today Meryl Streep is probably the most talented actress in the world, but she's not a movie star. She's an actress, a great actress, and several statements have been made about that, and I find it fascinating. But the story of Lana Turner is the most amazing thing. 2 or 3 little paperbacks have been done on her, and one was called The Life and Loves of Lana Turner, and 125 pages. And one reviewer in Los Angeles said, "My God, if we just named all of her lovers, that would take up 125 pages."
Well, but you talked about, just let me get back to you, talked about Rita Hayworth. Was she in the same category?
Yes. In fact, I still have a chance to document Rita. She was the love goddess of the world, and no complete biography has ever been written about her. But anyway, I hope to live to do it. But now, oddly enough, just a couple things about Lana. In the darkest year of America in World War II, which would be 1942, U.S. sailors voted Lana the most desirable woman in the world. And they carried her picture to the death march to Bataan, to the sands of Iwo Jima. I'll tell you my own personal story. My mother took me that year to see Lana Turner and Clark Gable in Somewhere I'll Find You. And after it was over, I had an enormous fight with my mother. I'm just a little kid. My mother pictured herself as Betty Davis. So she copied Betty Davis's hairstyle, Betty Davis's wardrobe, and I thought she looked more like Joan Crawford than Betty Davis, but that was Mother. And so we had a big fight. I wanted her to dye her hair blonde and look like Lana Turner. So we had a real Mother refused my demand. And
you're so cute.
It was not until 1977 that I got to meet Lana in person, and then got to know her over a period of years in the twilight of her life. She died in 1995.
What was her voice like?
A sort of a velvety, seductive voice. Oh. Now, you were not part of that movie goddess cult that I think you were. And I was. May be wrong.
No, I definitely was. Yes, because, I graduated from high school in 1954. Of course I was.
Yeah. Well, Samuel Goldwyn said, God makes stars, but producers discover them. And the golden age of the god and goddesses just simply doesn't exist anymore. And Marilyn Monroe wasn't really so much a goddess. She was viewed as a spectacle. That's quite a different. But there was a statement in the New York Times that sort of updated us on our generation. It said, once upon a time we created gods and goddesses in our image that were idealized versions of our most perfect selves. But in time, these gods and goddesses started to descend to earth. Initially, we welcomed them, but we grew to resent them and hold them in contempt. Elizabeth Taylor being a perfect example of that. We still love them, but hate them too, because the mirror image they hold up to us today is now cracked.
Really?
I thought that was a wonderful statement about the ending of the god and goddesses of yesterday. Now, Lana was, oh my God, she was like a soap opera. Her private life was almost more dramatic than anything she ever brought to the screen. In 1937, she was signed by Warner Brothers. She met another actor they just signed up, a very young, handsome Ronald Reagan, who at the time was posing for Beefcake and once posed for a nude study in an art class in San Diego. And she launched an affair with Ronald Reagan, and she had to compete and fight off Susan Hayward and Jane Wyman. And Jane Wyman knocked out Lana and Susan and married Reagan herself. But she had to wait until the end of World War II in 1946 when John F. Kennedy, a former Navy lieutenant, arrived in Hollywood, and he told his best friend, the actor Robert Stack, my first mission here in Hollywood is to seduce Lana Turner. So please go set it up. And Robert Stack did, and she had an on and off again affair with John F. Kennedy.
So did she have a great body?
What?
She had a great body, didn't she? Because she was the sweater girl.
Oh, yeah. Now, she was the sweater girl because in 1937, she got a bit role of where she walked down the street in a movie called They Won't Forget in a sweater, and the camera focused, shall we say, on a certain part of her anatomy. And that anatomy was bouncing up and down. And she became known as the sweater girl, and sweater sales across America shot up.
I love that.
Monroe,
oh, that's great.
Marilyn Monroe idolized Lana Turner, but she was very poor and couldn't afford a sweater. But she had a cardigan. So what she did, she buttoned the cardigan in the back, so the back of the sweater then would cover her breast.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
So that's how Marilyn became. And when Lana took her mother to see the film, and she had never seen it before, and she ran from the theater and in tears and burst into tears when she saw herself on the screen, because the men in the audience were, it's a family show. I can't repeat what they were calling out at the screen. And Lana Turner, the legend, was born. She moved quickly, though.
But wait, so I want to just grab you here for a minute. So, not by the sweater, but I want to grab you on this. So, the reason that this was so good, and it was World War II, it was during the war, after the war, the servicemen really did want to have women who were gorgeous like this, good bodies, good faces, looked great.
They
and
did.
So is that what happened, really?
Yes, they did. In fact, someone once wanted me to write a story about the blondes of World War II, because Betty Grable was the pinup girl. They had Veronica Lake, whom I used to know when she lived in Miami, and the peekaboo hairdo, and Carol Landis, another famous blonde who committed suicide when Rex Harrison left her, and these blondes emerged in World War II. But when the men turned from the war, they seemed to seek a different type of woman. I mean, the blondes got them through the war, but their careers. I know it's a strange cultural phenomenon that occurred in America. Now, by the way, Lana had 7 husbands. One she had to marry twice because it turned out he was a bigamist. Stephen Crane. She said, I had 7 husbands and 1 child, but I really wanted to have 7 children and 1 husband. But it didn't work out that way. Stephen Crane, of course, was the father of Cheryl Crane, who may or may not have murdered Johnny Stompanato, which was the gangster lover of Lana. I go into great detail on the murder of Johnny. He was stabbed in 1958. The evidence is that Lana did it because he was threatening to carve up her face, which was her fortune. And I go into detail, but I let the reader decide, like a jury, who really murdered Johnny Stompanato. It became the most famous Hollywood murder in the 1950s, and she thought it would destroy her career. But you know what it did? She came back with Imitation of Life and the box office, and Lana struggled with money all of her life. But after the murder of Johnny Stompanato, she came back and became the biggest box office star in America, and she made enough money that would keep her in ermine, mink, and diamonds for the rest of her life.
And before you go on, I want to tell everybody about your book, because I do want to promote it. The book is called Lana Turner, Hearts and Diamonds Take All, and it's by Darwin Porter and Danforth Prince. It is available now. It just came out, so you can get it. You can have to go to, I guess, you can go to Amazon and get it, or it's, isn't that where people could go get it?
Yes, there'll be in bookstores, but the major sales today go through Amazon, which they considerably reduce the price. So,
but it is something you would love to. You know, I know our listeners love when you come on and when you have a new book out. But how long does it take you to write a book like this?
Well, the book they gave me 4 months to write a big, thick book on Donald Trump, the man who would be king.
Yes.
So I have to burn the midnight oil. You know, the deadlines today. Of course, I don't have 5 years to work on a book, but the reason I can do it faster than first, I was always a very fast reporter, but I had to. You know, they say, "Oh my God, the Pan American edition of the Miami Herald is going to. You got to get the papers to the airport." And I was working on the night shift. I just prayed a major headline would not break, like Eisenhower had been assassinated or something. And so I learned to work under a deadline. But what saves my time is I've got the boxes of research already done. I started collecting data on Lana Turner. Now, I've never understood why I was so fascinated by Lana Turner, but she's just haunted my life in dreams. In fact, I'm sort of sad to sort of leave her now because I have to move on to other things. But now many baby boomer women are posting on various websites, and I've been reading a few of them, and they're telling me what Lana Turner meant to them in their lives. A lot of them were involved in rather dreary lives. You know, it was post-war America. There was unemployment in '46 and stuff. You were there in that era.
Yes.
And they said, we went to a Lana Turner movie to escape from ourselves, you know. I mean,
yeah.
It was like we wandered into another time in another place, and movies were at an all-time high during the war because people wanted to escape. In a way, considering the total breakdown in Washington, I'm also happy now to escape in what I want to do for the rest of my life, which is be a film historian and document the undocumented from another age. I listen to the news all the time, and it's rather I find it depressing. I really
absolutely.
do.
You know, it is, and it's so much of it is make believe, but it's scary. But let me ask you, when did she pass away? In 1995.
And
yes.
in her later years, she always looked glamorous till the very, very end. And in her later years, she told me she said, I've had all the lovers one woman could ever have, and now I'm sort of giving it all up. But the one thing about Lana Turner is she seduced some of the most famous men of all time. Clark Gable, Robert Taylor. She did a movie with Gary Cooper in 1938, and she came on to him, and he said, "Honey, you're jailbait. Come back in."
That's I used to hear that. Oh my gosh, I remember. I haven't heard jailbait. That is so funny.
I said, "Give me a call in 2 years," and you know what Lana did? She gave Gary Cooper a call in 2 years, and he said, "Come on over, baby."
Oh my! You know, this is just beautiful. So now, in those years, who was reporting on people like this? What newspapers or what magazines?
They weren't. That's the amazing. And this has been my great opportunity because the studios suppressed everything. Now today you're on the front page and on Entertainment Tonight. The studios, for example, Mickey Rooney was the hottest star at MGM because of all those Andy Hardy movies at the time. And he had an affair with Lana, and he impregnated her. Well, the studio arranged the abortion. You know, they couldn't have Mickey Rooney impregnating their young blonde star. And so all that was suppressed, but not from me. I got the whole stories, and what a story it was. See, I like romance, glamour, you know, I love movies like that. And also I loved, there are a lot of complaints in the paper today that they don't make enough women's pictures. Now, I thought they were like Betty Davis, Joan Crawford. I love those pictures, and I think it was just not for women. Men went to see them too, but now they say it's more and more a male-dominated industry. You've got to have a lot of zombies and crashes and all sorts of sort of technical things exploding in a movie. And but I'm happy to hear that because of all this publicity that went around the world on Lana, they're re-releasing 14 of her forgotten films again.
Really?
And one store in Los Angeles said in 1 week we got 631 requests for Lana Turner films. And you may have heard that Robert Osborne died, who hosted Turner Classic Movies. And Turner Classic Movies has shown that there is an appetite for old films, and I was surprised to see how many young people are now turning to these movies of yesterday, the ones we grew up with, in other words.
So what can we learn from them?
Well, I don't know. It was a way of life that faded from the planet, but and it's a different world now. In fact, I was talking to two people last night, having drinks with them, and they were born in 1998. Can you believe it that anyone was born in 1998? and it was interesting that their view of the world, the age of glamour had no meaning for them at all. They didn't I mean, one woman who's actually quite wealthy appeared in tattered jeans. You got to have a pair of blue jeans now that with holes all in them, and I don't know if they really appreciate the glamour that I grew up with. For example, I used to love to go to parties in Hollywood. The most only time you see that today is on the carpet at Oscar time. Then the women have to dress up.
I agree with the tattered jeans. I still don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't. We used to throw them out.
Right.
But I'm totally committed to. You even ironically brought up Rita Hayworth. Rita Hayworth was one of the great. In fact, she was a rival of Lana Turner. And guess what Rita did? She tried to steal Stephen Crane from Lana, her husband.
See, now I don't remember Stephen Crane at all.
Well, he was a minor thing. But at Ciro's, the maitre d' said one night Stephen Crane came in with Lana Turner. On the other night, the next night, he came in with Rita Hayworth, and the third night, he came in with Ava Gardner. So Stephen Crane must have had something.
He had something going because he picked the three best ones.
Well, they were the three most glamorous women in the world. So anyway, I'm going to spend my time promoting glamour and a life we live through. And I must say, with all the heart and pain that one has to go through in life, I found it a great time for when all of us were born. I would not have wanted to be born at a different time. I'd be terrified to be born today.
Okay, but wait, before you leave, I have to ask you a question. So who would you say is the most glamorous person today?
Oh, God. I knew you would ask that.
Well, if you don't know, we'll get you next time and you can tell us.
Have you got 1 minute left?
Yeah, 1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute. Well, oddly enough, there was an article just came out about comparing today's glamour, and they said, compared to Lana Turner, a fake celebrity of today like Paris Hilton is very dull. Even her sex video is boring because at one point she even answers the phone. Compared with a glamour puss like Lana Turner, another bottled blonde who knew how to make an entrance, Paris Hilton comes across as shoddy goods.
I don't think she compares to Lana Turner. Absolutely, Times. You're right.
So no one meets the ladies of yesterday.
Right.
So.
Well, you're wonderful to do this, and I know people will love your book, and I can't wait to get my copy. And thank you, Darwin, and we'll talk later.
It's on the way to you, and I'm hoping you are of a right age where you can read it. You're not too young.
I will read it.
It's pretty hot.
Okay, I like hot. Thank you, darling.
Great show.
Thank you, Tim.